non-amenitized buildings. They have no amenities. They don't have pools. They don't have a gym. They don't have, don't have golf simulator. They don't have a dog park. They don't have any of it. When you finish a commercial building, one of the things, the most important thing at that moment is to actually rent it up. And the reason why it's important to rent it up is most people don't understand when you finish a building, you have a construction loan, you just finished building. And if you don't rent it up quickly, you're carrying a building for cost. And if you don't find another loan quickly, which banks usually don't want to give you another loan until you rent it up, you could have a major disaster on hand. You have a problem that you're carrying a building and your full construction loan is drawn and you have no income, and your prospect for getting an actual finished fixed loan at the back end of it is not happening because you haven't filled the building up. So one of the things questions people ask me is like, why am I having a hard time getting tenants? And it's a very, very loaded question. It can come with a lot of different aspects. And it can touch on to both architecture, amenities within this building itself, but also touches on to commercial real estate, understanding the markets you're looking at and how to look at those markets. And I want to just give you a very quick scenario on a situation that we actually came up this week on a project. We just finished a project with Going CFO, and we're actually getting extreme interest in that project in Orange, New Jersey. It came out pretty nice, I think. One of the things we're noticing is that we're having extreme interest. And the reason we're having extreme interest, well, I want to take a step back for a second. We actually had internally many calls discussing how much we should charge for rent. And the reason why we had these calls for rent and the informative aspect of the conversation was we can push the market numbers and we can push those numbers a little higher as the total rental in the area today you see is closer to like $2,500 a month. And we were discussing that maybe we should charge $2,300 a month, like we're leaving money on the table. And yes, we might be leaving money on the table. But here's the point we were making, and this is the point of why we're having extreme interest. There's two different types of buildings in the area. Building type A, non-amenitized buildings. They have no amenities. They don't have pools. They don't have a gym. They don't have, don't have golf simulator. They don't have a dog park. They don't have any of it. They just have rentals. Those buildings are renting at about $2,100 a month to $2,000 to $2,100 a month. You have extreme amenitized buildings that have everything from amenities. I mean, extremely high-end buildings in the same area. They're renting at $2,800 a month. These are two-bedroom apartments, both equally rented. Now, we don't want to push closer to the more amenitized buildings because we're competing with very, very, really nice product. We don't want to push to the lower-end product because our product does have amenities. Like our building has a pool, has a golf simulator, it's got a spa in it, it's got a dog park, it's got a rooftop deck, it's magnificent, but it's not heavily amenitized on the part that feels like the really high-end building. So if we come in mid-market, so we're selling an amenitized building so we can claim we're like the higher-end product because we're actually presenting like the higher-end product, yet we're charging a lot less than they are. Yes, we're a little bit more because there's a value to that, a little more because I can't be the cheaper products and I'm not packaging myself with the cheaper product. So I'm packaging myself smack in mid-market. We are the only building marketing for that mid-market. There's no other building that exists right now. Yes, I can push myself to the higher end product and make believe I'm that, or I am technically that, but we did it that way. Now, one of the things the reason why we're able to do this, and this is very crucial, when we went into this deal, we assumed we're keeping cash in the deal. A lot of deals try to pull all their cash out at the back end. What that does is, then you have to milk the building for every penny it's worth, or else you won't get your money out. It's a terrible thing because then you cannot be at your right market point. You need to be at that right market point. That is from the perspective of the developer and understanding the market very well. On the design side, I get this question a lot. Should we spend more money on the lobby? Should we spend more money on amenities? And the answer is yes and no. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish. If you're trying to accomplish what we just discussed before, where you're sticking yourself in the right market, you need to know your market. You don't know your market, you won't know what you have to amenitize for, or you won't know what you have to spend. If you're in Manhattan, you need a nice lobby. If you're in certain areas, you need certain amenities to accomplish that. You always need to look at your market, speak to your brokers, understand what you're trying to sell. The better you know what you sell, the better your product is. You hit the right market point where no one else is, you will rent. If you try to compete with everybody else, you're just another cog in the wheel. And with that, please subscribe.